Please. My son is about to lose everything. All of it.
You paid me to vanish. Why come back now?
You look at me like I'm a stranger now.
You paid me to disappear, so I became one. Every altered dosage traces back to one login, time-stamped. Yours. You can't prove any of this in here.
Empire City. Tuesday morning, 7:15. Aaliyah Johnson is folding laundry in a small apartment above a laundromat when someone pounds on her door like the building is on fire. She opens it and Grace Hahn, the woman who once called her family, drops to her knees right there in the hallway. "Please," Grace whispers, gripping Aaliyah's hands with both of hers. "My son is about to lose everything. And you are the only person alive who can save him." A year ago, this woman's family paid Aaliyah $40,000 to disappear and never come back. She signed the paper. She packed one bag. She never looked back, not once, not even when it hurt to breathe. Now the same woman who broke her heart is on her knees in a hallway, begging. If you have ever been paid, in money or in silence, to walk away from someone you loved, hit subscribe right now, and tell me in the comments where in the world you are watching from tonight, because this story is about to break your heart wide open. 1 year earlier, Aaliyah was the private nurse who brought Grace Hahn back to life after a heart attack nearly killed her. Long nights charting medication. Quiet mornings reading to her on the balcony. Somewhere between the medicine and the prayers, Aaliyah fell in love with Grace's son Daniel, the CEO of Hahn Global, a company his father built with his own 2 hands. Daniel loved her back, fiercely, and completely in secret, because a Hahn heir dating his mother's nurse was not a story the board wanted printed. Daniel used to say Aaliyah was the first person in that hospital who spoke to his mother like a woman, not like a patient in a bed. He proposed, quietly, with no ring yet, just a promise, on the same balcony where Grace first learned to breathe on her own again. Then a story hit the newspapers anyway. A photograph taken through a car window. A forged bank document claiming Aaliyah had been paid by a rival company to spy on the family from inside their own home. Daniel's board called it a scandal that could sink a merger worth billions of dollars. Daniel believed the papers sitting in his own hands, because a Hahn does not survive in business by trusting too easily. He met Aaliyah in his mother's hospital room, slid a check across the table between them, and said 4 quiet words that have lived in her chest like a bruise ever since. "Please, just take it." She never told him the truth because in that whole terrible conversation, he never once asked her for it. So why, exactly 1 year later, is his mother on her knees in a hallway, whispering the word save? Grace will not explain, not yet. She only says one thing, her voice shaking. "You still have it, don't you? The bracelet I gave you the day I left the hospital." Aaliyah's fingers moved to her own wrist without even thinking about it. Aaliyah agrees to see her just once more. Inside Hahn Tower, everything has changed and somehow nothing has. There is a board vote in 5 days that will strip Daniel of his father's company forever, handing control instead to a woman named Vivian Ashford, who wears Daniel's ring now and quietly wants Grace's old office next. Worse, Grace's heart is failing again, the exact same strange symptoms as before, arriving right on schedule with the vote, almost too perfectly timed to be an accident. "I don't understand," Aaliyah says, standing in a lobby that once felt like home. "Why does any of this need me?" "Because," Grace says, gripping her arm, "I do not trust one single other person in this entire building with my life." Daniel finds her in the east hallway outside his mother's old office, and for a moment neither of them breathes. "You look at me like I'm a stranger," he says quietly. "I paid you to disappear," Aaliyah answers, not looking away, "so I became one." He tells her he has hated himself every single day since that check cleared, that he kept the receipt in a drawer he cannot open anymore. She tells him hate does not unsign a check, and it does not give back a year of her life, the birthdays, the ordinary Tuesdays, all of it gone. It is not shouting between them, not really. It is worse than shouting. It is 2 people finally saying the truth out loud 1 whole year too late, standing 3 feet apart and unable to close the distance. Before I tell you what Aaliyah finds hidden inside that little bracelet, subscribe now, because the next few minutes change absolutely everything you think you know about this family. That night, checking Grace's chart out of pure nursing habit, Aaliyah notices something wrong with the dosage log. A pattern she has seen only once before, 1 year ago, right before that scandal quietly broke. Inside the clasp of the hospital bracelet Grace gave her, engraved so small most people would miss it completely, is Grace's own private medical ID number. Aaliyah holds it under the light and matches it against tonight's chart, hands trembling. The numbers do not match the timeline anyone was ever told. Someone altered Grace's medication twice. Once quietly a year ago, and again just this very week. It was never a scandal. It was sabotage both times, and it came from the very same hand. Suddenly Aaliyah is not a disgraced ex-nurse standing in a hallway she was once banned from. She is the only person left who can read what this chart is truly saying. Daniel starts listening to her instead of the woman wearing his ring. Vivian's smile grows a little tighter every single time Aaliyah walks into a room, and Aaliyah starts to notice her watching. Late that night, Daniel finds Aaliyah standing alone on the balcony. "I was shown a document with your signature on it," he admits, his voice breaking on every word. "I believed a piece of paper over the woman who held my mother's hand through 3 surgeries. I have hated that version of myself for 1 entire year." Aaliyah looks at him for a long, long time before she answers. "I did not stop loving you," she says quietly. "I just stopped waiting for you to choose me." Vivian sees the bracelet on Aaliyah's wrist at breakfast the next morning and goes completely pale, her coffee cup frozen halfway to her mouth. By that afternoon, she has moved the board vote up 2 full days, and quietly requested that Grace be declared unfit to vote her own shares, blaming her sudden confusion in a memo sent to every board member but Daniel. If it works, Grace loses her voice in this company forever, right when the family needs her most, and Vivian never has to explain a single altered dosage to anyone. Stay with me, because in the next few minutes, one small silver object is about to expose a lie that has quietly controlled this entire family for a full year. Subscribe now so you do not miss 1 second of how this ends. In the boardroom in front of 12 seated board members, Aaliyah lays the bracelet beside Grace's medical chart and a folder of pharmacy records she pulled overnight with her own hands. Every altered dosage from both years traces back to a single login, time-stamped, undeniable. Vivian Ashford's. Vivian forged the spying documents that got Aaliyah exiled from this family a year ago, out of jealousy dressed up as loyalty, and this month she has been quietly adjusting Grace's heart medication, just enough to keep her weak, confused, and easy to outvote before the merger closed. She never actually wanted Daniel's love. She wanted his signature on that merger, and his mother's shares silenced for good, and she was willing to let an old woman's heart fail to get both. The boardroom goes ice cold. Grace, sharper now than she has been in weeks, rises to her feet on her own strength. "No cane, no help. Get out of my company," she says, "and get out of my son's life." Security walks Vivian out past every single board member she once quietly controlled. Nobody in that entire room says one word in her defense. Grace's heart steadies within days, once the tampering finally stops for good, and color comes back into her face for the first time in weeks. The board vote passes unanimously in Daniel's favor. That evening, Daniel finds Aaliyah packing her bag again in the guest room, more from old habit than any real wish to leave him. He does not hand her a check this time. He kneels down in front of her, right there between the half-packed suitcase and the open window, and asks her to stay, not as staff, not as a secret hidden from the board, but as the only woman he has ever fully trusted with his family's life. "Choose me the way I never got to choose you," she tells him, arms crossed, guarding her own heart one last time. Out loud, in front of everyone this time. No checks, no hallways, no hiding. So he does, right there, in front of Grace, in front of the staff, in front of everyone who once watched him let her go. Some people will pay you to disappear quietly. The right ones will drop to their knees and beg you to come home, and mean it with their whole life, for the rest of their life. Thank you so much for watching all the way to the end. If this story moved you even a little, hit that subscribe button, tap like, and turn on notifications so you never miss the next one. Tell me in the comments, would you have gone back to her? This has been Empire City Romance Stories, and we will see you in the very next one.